This is a topic that you don't hear very often, but it is still very important. This is the load and pop. It's very important to load your lines so you can pop off the water really hard. Back in the days of the freestyle, this was what it was all about. Popping was the only way of going up because you wanted to keep your kite low for maximum scores. Nowadays, it's all about bigger. So your kite is gonna go up and help you get up into the sky. But it is still very important that you load up your lines before you jump and pop off the water. So that's exactly what we're gonna look at today. Before we start looking at the 3 exercises to improve your pop and jump higher, let's have a look how it actually works. And let's start with misconception number 1, and that is the lines act like a spring and shoot you out of the water. Because I don't think this is true. Yes, lines do extend and they retract, but the power that is released when the lines retract is not nearly enough to shoot you out of the water. So how does it work? As soon as you start edging and loading your lines, you will increase the flying speed of the kite. With increased flying speed comes increased power. So the kite will build up power, and as soon as you release all that power, your kite will shoot forward in the wind window, and this is what pulls you out of the water and gives you the power. Anyways, let's put that aside and look at the actual exercises to improve your pop. Let's start off with the carve. Ride in with medium to high speed on a crosswind chorus. Lean back and shift your weight to the back foot to carve the board into the wind. Center your weight back to the top of the board and continue riding on a crosswind chorus. As you can see in this shot, the kite will shoot forward in the wind window, creating power which we can use to pop out of the water in the next exercise. Let's have a look at a couple of the key points from the loading carve. First of all, you want to edge and put the board under an angle. If you don't put the board under an angle, most likely you will slide out. So pull up those toes, dig in those heels, and like that the board will cut for the water. Second of all, you'll need some leverage. And you can do this by getting your bum close to the water. The closer your bum is to the water, the more you can resist against the power of the kite and the more spray you can throw. Third of all, you don't want to block that back leg. Keep it bent. As soon as you block that back leg, you're most likely going to slide out and lose all the power. So keep it bent, adjust to the pressure of the water, and like that you'll have a very nice consistent carve. Third, or fourth actually, and certainly not least, is you want to keep a little bit of pressure in that bar. Don't keep your bar all the way in the bottom for full power, because that will be really hard to stop the kite. Try to play around with the power of the kite, that the kite has power, but it also doesn't pull you off too much. Let's have a closer look at the word carving and edging, because in my books, those are 2 different things. Carving is the initiation of a turn in order to change direction. Edging is when you put your board under an angle to grip or cut through the water. To give you an example, you cannot carve without edging, because if you don't edge during a turn, most likely you will slide out. But you can edge without carving, because if I'm riding in a straight line and just put the board under an angle, this will really help my board cutting through the water, but I don't necessarily have to make a turn. So with that in mind, let's look at the pop. The approach to this loaded pop is very similar to that of the loaded carve. Medium to high speed with the kite at 45 degrees. Carve in towards the wind and kick with the back leg to pop out of the water with the bar pulled down. Keep tension on your stomach muscles so the board stays underneath you and lands slightly downwind. If you've done it correct, you'll have plenty of speed left to continue riding. For the loaded pop, I like to steer the kite up a little bit just before I start carving towards the wind. This helps to get a bit of extra height and support. As I pop off the water, I steer the kite back down to make sure I have enough forward speed on the landing. If you find it hard to steer the kite during a pop, you can also keep the kite in one spot so you can focus on the board. Key points from the pop. You actively want to pop out of the water by kicking with your back leg. This will really give you the last little bit to jump higher. Next to that, it's important to tension up your stomach muscles. If I don't tension up my stomach muscles, most likely I will make a faceplant. So let's avoid this by tensioning up those stomach muscles and keeping the board underneath us. After the pop, I usually really enjoy steering the kite back down into the wind window. By steering the kite back down, you will maintain speed on your landing and it will be easier to ride it out. Now let's say that you do the pop, but you find it really hard to tension up your stomach muscles and keep the board underneath you, which will actually become harder and harder the faster and harder you do your carve. Then we get to the next solution, which is actually a hooked Railey. So let's have a closer look at that. Let's speed it up a bit. High speed entry with the kite at 45 degrees. Carve hard towards the wind by leaning back and digging those heels in the water. Let the board swing back behind you and look at your landing spot. As you come down, you can pull the board back beneath you and land with a slightly downwind angle. Kite steering is pretty much identical to that of the loaded pop, where you can steer it up and down a little or just keep the kite in one spot, whatever you prefer. Key points for the hooked Railey. Go with the flow and let that board swing. As you carve your board upwind, you store a lot of energy in the board and it will want to swing back. So let it, at least until the highest point of your jump or the apex of your jump. And that brings us to point number 2. Before you've reached the apex of your jump, don't worry about pulling that board back underneath you. Just go with the flow, let it hang, and only pull it back underneath you after the apex of your jump. Anything before will take too much power and it will become significantly easier after the apex. And then last, speed is your friend, and this actually goes with all of the pops or jumps. The faster you go, the more power you can store in your board, the higher you'll be able to jump. But this goes up to a certain extent. Technique is still key. If you're not able to hold your edge, then take a step back and go a bit slower. But if you find that it's easy to hold your edge and you don't have enough power at the end of your jump, your Railey or your pop, speed it up a little bit and go in with more speed for more power. For the ones of you that paid attention, you have noticed that I did a preload pop at the beginning of this video. A preload pop is a technique to jump higher, but it's a very tricky technique where the timing is super important. It's too big of a subject to touch upon right now, and I tell most people not to bother with it because the timing is actually so hard. But for the people that are interested, let me know down in the comments and I might just go make a dedicated video to the preload pop. And with that, we also get to the end of this video. If you've enjoyed it, give me the thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, feel free to click the thumbs up twice. And other than that, please subscribe, give me a comment, and I'll see you on the next one.